Hello there, folks, and welcome to the stream. My name is Mike D'Angelo, aka That Tellest Guy. We are back today to look at probably the final few seconds of our Sinkhole Warning Rock map that we were working on last week. Really, this is pretty much done. I've already made variants of it, so what we're going to do is something that's a little unprecedented. Rian, I have an important question for you. When I use that map completed thing and you hear the fanfare, do you hear it upstairs, through your phone, or both? It's important. Both, I think. All right. Well, we'll verify that maybe in a video in the future on YouTube. Just pay attention to it. I do have another question for you. What variant should I make for this map? It'll be a special variant that you choose. We've already done kind of like a corrupted version and a rainy version. What should I do to make this the look at this map more important than just the 2 seconds that I have it up on screen? On fire. I can do that, I think. So I have never done a forest fire before. However, we do have some precedent for it in one of Matt's maps. So what I try and always do is study from people who've done things well before. So let's take a look at Matt's map real quick. This is actually a variant of his stream map. So he obviously did a pretty good job here. It will be something brand new to me. I've never done this before, so let's see what we can pull off. So first and foremost, I think what Matt's got going for him is some flames. Flames are important. So let's see what we got. We got this fire effect here, which I think is probably the one that he used. Let's do some practice touches and see how this goes. Oh, you know what? I need my second screen up. Let's see. So Matt's fire looks real hazy and everything. Let's see what we got here. I don't want to make the fire look too crazy. So what I think I want to do is have the flames all kind of go off in the same direction, because if there's fire, it's going to be affected by the wind. So let's do that. Let's get rid of this randomization over here. We're going to keep things looking similar. Not really a lot of choices there. So what did Matt do? I think he really just did things over and over again until they made sense. Hey, wait a minute. Need to make sure that things are layered right. It's all very important. so we've got this kind of little run real quick of fire and flames and everything. Let's do... There's a little bit there as well. So there's really 3 components of this that we have to bring together. Actually, before I do too much, let's say this is a clone so I'm not doing the wrong thing. Hooray, slow save. All right, so like I said, there's 3 main components to make this kind of all come together. The first is obviously the flames. There should be... To some extent, there should be some way to kind of make these look like they're burned in, and I need to make sure that I know which one it is that we would be using. It might be that Matt manually did these things. I think that's honestly what he did. I think that he came through and messed with like the contrast and the brightness and stuff like that. Maybe with the hue a little bit, kind of darken it up as it's burning. Let's do a couple more of these. You jerk. All right, so we've got the 356 as the angle. All right, that's good. What is going on here? Oh my God. No. All right, so let's look at this tree again real quick. So we did -25, 56, and 134. We're not going to copy that every step of the way, but we're going to do these kind of 4 rows, or these 4 trees in this row. We'll see how things look. We'll throw some dust over top and see what we got. Definitely feel like I need a couple more flames over that way. Why do you do this? So we got that little piece there. Let's do, like I said, that kind of like dust cloud kind of look. We might even be able to do that with like a filter. I feel like when Matt does it, it's got like a hazy look over everything. So let's see. Overcast doesn't really do it. So it's not that. Let's see. We've got saturation. It's not going to be that. I don't think that it was a tilt shift or a blur. Let's check it out real quick. No, maybe? Don't really know. So let's take a look at his map again real quick. He definitely has kind of some like haze in certain places. It's like up here, we've got a little bit of that. Up here, we've got a little bit in here. You can see that kind of like the sharpness of the flames dissipates. Maybe that's by design. Maybe what he did was, maybe he blurred his own flames. And you can also see, where'd you go? I didn't tell you could go away, picture. Well, it's loading. We'll keep on thinking of things. He's got much more kind of orangey flames, so let's try and bring that in as well. Not green, certainly not green. Maybe like a negative 20 is a nice look there. Let's see if we can grab all these all at once. There we go. I feel like that's a little more menacing. Did we do anything with that tree? I feel like that tree kind of got off scot-free. Nope. More saturated. Nope. Saturation doesn't matter. Brightness and contrast is what matters. All right. Let's see again if we can't find like a dust look. I don't think that dust is usually what I come across, but I think before we've used clouds for the sandstorm kind of stuff, so we might be able to do something similar here if the darn thing wants to play nice. All right, so we're going to go to color, and we're going to, yep, we don't really get a lot by way of transforming any of that. Nothing changing there. Nothing's going to change for saturation. Nothing's going to change for brightness, except for, you know, if it's going to be white or gray. So that does leave me a little curious as to how he got that look. Let's try something different. So we've got that. I know that we did the sandstorm. All right, we're going to save and we're going to take a step over to the map that actually just went live on DriveThruRPG today, which is the Kahara Desert Oasis, the Dragon Speaker version, because we did do the sandstorm there, and I should be able to use that as kind of an indication of what Matt did here. So we're going to give it the old college try and see what we can pull off. Well, it would help if I did the sandstorm version. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, so we've got all these little sandstorms, and we actually used creeping fog. So we're going to take a step back into our forest fire, and we're going to do creeping fog instead. Now, something makes me think that that's not what Matt actually used, but we're going to give it a try and see if we can do anything with it. So, real quick, I want to make sure there's not a blur option in here. No. Okay, so we're just going to grab just a little strip of this real quick, and I don't remember using this for the map that we just did either, by the way. When we were working on the Watcher's Gatehouse, we certainly didn't use fog or anything like that. So I don't know how I got that kind of like dust particle-y kind of look. All right, let's see. So the blur overhead doesn't really do too much to the world below, but let's change the hue so that it's more in line with kind of the brown kind of dusty look we're trying to go for. I changed that specifically so that I could see it a little better. Let's actually move it out of position so that it's a little bit easier to define. Let's mess with the saturation a little bit. That's actually not a bad color. So something like that is actually not too terrible. And we've got some blur on a couple of these fires. Let's keep it going. Pretty good start, I think. So let's do some quick work here and there. Kill all these poor trees. Dink dink. Oop. So what we got here is some hydroflies that aren't going to be there anymore. Let's grab all these guys all at once. I specifically want to murder the crap out of these flowers. So we'll do that one real quick. Get rid of most of these trees and go even darker with things. Okay, where is this tree that's locked over here? There we go. Got these ones down here. Actually, this one I want to mess with the hue a little bit. Same thing with this one. Anything that looks kind of too lush, we need to dial back the hue. Can't forget these guys up here. Dink, dink, dink. Oh no, you're not getting away scot-free. And we got these guys over here. All right, and I'll have to figure out what to do with the rock, because the rock is going to feel a little bit out of place. All right, and now to grab some flames again. $356. that's kind of huge. Dial that down a little bit. All these guys. Brianna, I hope you're going to be happy with this when it's done. Looks good so far. Smokey the Bear would be so disappointed. Just do little sparks over here. That tree is kind of low to the ground. One little bit here, and one more little kind of bit of flame over there. And then the next step is going to be grabbing our dust and putting it over more spots on the map. So we got to a pretty good look so far, I feel. But the next step is going to be charring some of this grass, because the grass shouldn't make it out alive either. Let's go into the color, and we're going to try and see if we can't do kind of the same thing that we did there. I don't 100% know how this is going to look, but let's give it a test. And I'm using the wrong stuff because I think it needs to be on the foreground. There we go. That actually doesn't look too bad. So we're going to have a couple of spots where the grass is a little bit more okay than it is, but we'll get to that in a minute. One more pass around here, and then let's do one more. And so, well, actually, we're going to do it pretty much everywhere. Make everything look a little bit darker. You know what? Wasn't all that complicated, to be perfectly honest, because I think at this point technically we're done. It's you know, we took 22-23 minutes to put that all together, but it's my first forest fire and I think it looks pretty good. I'll have to kind of touch base with Matt and figure out how he liked it and everything, but I think we're good to save, so we're gonna hit save real quick, and that'll go up with the other variants tomorrow. So pretty good stuff. Not really sorry, because it looks cool. All right, so we're going to wrap that up. Actually, now is a good time for me to jump over to the sponsors. So give me 1 second. And now, a word from our sponsors. Eager to show that you can write an excellent book without following too closely to established tropes, new author Albert T. Franklin turns readers into fans with his debut, Searching for Zen, A Tale of Divine Destiny. Join Zen, a boy with an incredible gift who is bound to shape the form of humanity for ages to come. Franklin weaves a captivating story around this powerful being and endears Zen to many people who are integral to his life. A fellowship is created that will be one for the ages and one that readers will love to root for. If you're looking for an uplifting fantasy that outshines the darkness, look no further. Check out our promo for Searching for Zen, A Tale of Divine Destiny on the Tellest website today. I thought I'd be able to sneak in an export while that was going on, and guess what? Not so. Be like, oh, Rihanna said, I would be sorry if it looked bad, and yeah, that would be pretty humiliating. But hey, we got to learn a little bit, and we got to put something together really quick, so not too shabby. All right, I am not going to export the gridless version. We're just going to head right into map 2 of the evening, and that is going to be the first steps in our Jungle Ruins map. So we already have kind of a jungle zone in the Tellest map pack, but that was kind of done with assets that were really kind of intended for like a forest. And recently, Inkarnate released a jungle pack. So what we're going to do is kind of focus on that now instead. And there's a cool way that we should be able to use the new techniques and the new tool set that we have. So if we go into the paths that we have up here and we go to our edit nodes, I think there's this button cut path that we can use. And if I come up here and I use cut path, I can legitimately tell Inkarnate that I want to cut some of these pieces away. And what that will do for me is it kind of lets me work with things in a way that's more manageable. So if I didn't want to have to take apart the entire cliff, I don't have to do that anymore. You can see that at this point what it does is it separates the one path that we had, the one line, into two separate lines. So you can see in the kind of dotted lines that I was making that this is supposed to be like two components of a river that kind of connect. And what we'll do is we're going to use the mask tool to kind of move some things around there. But it would have been really tough if we had to redo the entire cliff set. So what we're doing here is basically cutting away pieces of that path and working around it. So I want to real quick make sure. Yep, so as I'm pulling that away, I didn't do it. Sometimes I do the opposite and I put things on the background layer, and then when you're trying to put things on the foreground, it gets real messy. So luckily I didn't make that mistake today. So we're going to smooth that down. And let's do just kind of a path around the dotted lines. So what I'm going to try and start doing is, more often than not, I want to try and have like a base of a map done, whether that's, you know, like these path tool kind of instructions for myself, or you know, like some template pieces that are already in place that we can just kind of copy over, because a lot of what I do is kind of planning on the fly, and I feel like sometimes that can be kind of boring. This is not going to look right, so we're going to have to clean this up as we go as well. It might not look as bad when we have it all filled in with water and rapids and rocks and stuff like that. But I'll adjust as needed. But kind of having, you know, a plan ahead of time makes it easier to make sure that you're heading in the right direction and that you don't have to, in the middle of your stream, go, yeah, I'm not really feeling that. So what we're going to do is, if we go to this line over here on the left, we can go to edit nodes, and we can kind of start to stretch things into place. Along those lines. I didn't need it to be quite that bad. So if I step outside of that, again, that looks a lot nicer than the way that we had it before. I can come down here and I can cut this path the same way. So if I cut that guy right there, the one thing is I feel like I have to cut every time. Let's see if there is a shortcut for cutting. Does not look like they have that yet. And that's okay. Maybe they'll add it, maybe they won't. All right, so now at this point we have, well, we'll just get rid of that because I don't need that. Let's come over here and we're going to edit these nodes as well. Same thing, we're going to grab this and bring it up. And let's see. Maybe we'll bring it out that way so it's got a little bit of a curve to it. And eventually what we're going to have to do over here is the same thing. We're going to have to cut those paths back, but we don't have to worry about that just yet. Over here, we're going to bring this one up here. That tucks in pretty nicely there. Oop. We're actually going to add a tiny little node there. And we're going to end up bringing that over, but let's see if we can bring that over without it looking too weird. There we go. Again, that kind of tucks in a little bit nicer. And we're going to cut this path down here. Same thing we've been doing. And what we can do is just grab this middle chunk because we don't need that anymore. Okay, and then move that up here. I don't even really have to do too much with that, but we're going to scooch that to the side. Scooch that over as well. Again, looks pretty nice. It manages to do what we wanted to do in that spot very quickly. And again, we didn't have to do anything with the entirety of that cliff. So grab this one down here. So we still need to bring that up to the next level. What we'll do here is same thing we did on the left side. We'll add another node and kind of slide that up a little bit. Now all along the edge of the river, we're going to have to do more of these kind of cliff terrains, but right now at least we know it looks pretty good. And one of the other nice things is I didn't have to worry about adjusting the brush size up here or anything. Like we didn't have to change the size of the grass or anything like that. So it all ended up working out pretty well for us. All right, we are going to do the same thing over here where we go to our mask tool and subtract down into where this river connects to the other one, because it's easier, I feel like, to sync things up to where the mask goes away. And we're definitely not going to come near finishing this today, but we might put some good mileage on it tomorrow. And then depending on how we feel on Thursday, maybe we'll do another map this week. I definitely want to try and get to a point where we're finishing the maps a little quicker, and that kind of goes hand in hand with what I was talking about earlier, where we have some work already put together on the maps ahead of time. When I was picking this map out, there's a good chance you saw there's like 10 other maps in the queue. Because earlier this week, I was trying to make a plan for, in the grand scheme of things, what to do with our little zigzag pattern. And typically what I'm trying to do is figure out something that we can kind of integrate from the world of Tellest. And I feel like I got some good stuff. Okay, almost done with this piece. Wasn't happy with the way that that one overlapped, so we're going to bring that back a little bit. Quit your zooming. Okay, almost there. All right, there we go. So let's do the same thing that we did with the other stuff. We're going to go to edit nodes, and we're going to cut away this stuff in the center. Grab that guy real quick. Add that node. We're actually just going to add a tiny little guy right there so that when we're moving this one up, we have a base that we can work with. And we're actually going to bring that up even further. Because if we do make a sequel to this, I want to be able to not have to make these changes after the fact. Okay, grabbing this one, we're going to do the same thing. Just do a little bit over there to the side. Let's actually bring this one over here a little bit more along that line. And don't have to do anything down there or anything. We do know that we have to cut this guy away. So we're going to cut there and there. And again, we can just grab that middle piece and start to put things back into place over here. I hear you yawning down there. This one already has a piece that we can use. Bring that up and bring that over. Actually, swing that over too. Down a smidge. And one more set. Rihanna is less sleepy. I'm actually sleepy too. No doggy problems or anything last night. Just didn't sleep well. Okay, and last bit. Let's grab these guys and squish them into place. See how that looks. Let's get rid of our get rid of these paths real quick, because I don't think we need them anymore. And yeah, they actually flow together pretty nice, so we don't have to worry about that right there. again, we are probably gonna have to. We got some bulbous kind of sections of the river itself here, but we're not doing anything with the cliffs down here yet. So we'll make some adjustments there. But at least up here, where I knew that I was gonna have to have kind of like those subtly flowing waterfalls, that we had some stuff there that we were working on. Let's throw together some other jungle assets and see what we have, because I really haven't played with any of those yet. Alright, so we've got furnaces and ritual masks and altars and stuff, treasure chests, fire pits, keys. Let's see what we got as far as like a bridge goes. Got some cool caps and steps and walls and stuff. I like how these are situated one on top of the other. That helps out a lot. Alright, do they have a bridge that I can use? No. But I really want a bridge. Alright. We've got these Snake Temple stairs, which are kind of shaded like they're going downward, which that really doesn't do the trick for me, but I might be able to use this smaller variety. Let's try this out real quick. So the way that I'm kind of conceiving this is this bridge just does this. Rises up, comes back down. However, all that said, I might not end up using this bridge here because it looks a little too snazzy. And I kind of want this to be the entrance to whatever we're working on. But if I was going to use it, that doesn't look that bad. Let's see if we have an alternate, something that looks a little bit drearier. We've got hut stairs. That actually might work. Yeah, it looks a little less ornate, so we can do that instead. I feel like that's good. Let's get rid of these guys real quick. And I kind of want that to be underneath, so we're going to scooch that down, but we can make adjustments as needed. I don't really want it straight across, so I'm going to move that there. It's going to be on kind of a little bit of an angle. And we'll do this one in the opposite direction. Alright, so the only problem is at this point it's 10 feet across, so we're going to make adjustments that way too. So we've got that down to 36 is our size. So we'll do the same thing over here. I said 36. Aw, man. That didn't end up the way that I wanted it to. Didn't all want to move the same way. Okay, that's good. We'll scooch that down there because I really didn't like the shape of that part of the bridge, or the water rather. Alright, so we've got that. We don't need these guys. And let's play with the trees a little bit, because I know that the jungle has some new trees that we can mess around with. Palm trees and jungle trees and banana trees and cacao trees, and I think those are the big ones. Let's do a couple of jungle trees first, because we should be able to make these pretty big. Oh, there. Make up your mind. I'll put down this one tree and then save it because we're well over 100 at this point. Oh, that's a big one though. Alright, save. And then we'll do a little bit more work before we scooch it forward. We'll do some bushes around the river itself. Let's do... I don't want to do just jungle trees. So we'll do... I kind of want to do the research to find out whether or not a banana tree is taller than a jungle tree and so forth and so on. Scooch that down a little bit. I feel like that's not right. I am really going to go that nuts and do a little bit of research. All right, let's do some bushes instead just to have them in place. Just do it in a couple of places. Some other bushes that we can throw in there. Excuse me. It's going to be a fun new set to work with. Banana bush. That's what Rihanna says. Banana bush. Alright, we've got some flowers and stuff like that. Rainbow ferns and fan-shaped ferns and weird Venus flytrap looking things. Let's throw a little orchid down here. Beneath the bush. That's a big one. Trying to do a lot of bushes over here, and I'm just sampling things along. I don't really know what a monstera plant is. Let's see what else we have. We've got traps galore, and I know that I've seen a spike trap. We got floor traps. There we go. So we're putting things into place just so that we know that they're going to be there. I like this being one of these traps because they... See, now I have a Ledema. Because I like these ones too. I'll tell you what, let's step outside of what we were doing and we'll go to stuff like this again. Let's head back down to our jungle. And I'm hoping, the whole thing that we were trying to do here was build some ruins. So we do have some broken walls. We've got some broken ancient walls. This is the way to go, I think. Now, here's the tricky bit. I want some of it to be ancient and some of it not to be. So, how are we going to pull this off? We're legit just going to do it in chunks, I think. So if we've got that one there, well, we've got that piece there, and we change that one to a broken one. Does that look all right? And to be perfectly honest, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. So we've been relying on the line tool a lot, but it might not always make sense. Where is the damaged ancient wall that we were just working on? We've got the slope wall. Broken aqueduct cups, or caps rather. I feel like, do we not have is it only on the path tool? Interesting. So it appears we might not actually have. Interesting. Okay. Let's see what happens when we change this to our broken ancient wall and go a little bit further with it. So I'm kind of putting these nodes into place because I figure if I wanted to, I could kind of cut them out and work on them a little bit differently. So right now, those are our damaged walls. The entire area is damaged at this point. But what I can do is go into edit, and I think the only problem is if I cut various pieces, we obviously lose the entirety of that piece. Now, I don't really want that, but I do want to do certain things with these nodes. So let's see what we can do here. Oh, it's because I've got the snap to grid on. So I can put nodes in various places to do that cut a little bit more organically. I certainly don't mind losing pieces of these, but I want the cuts to be a little bit more natural. We are nearing the end of our hour, so I am going to cut us loose soon. All right, so basically anytime you see that tiny little bit there, that's where we're going to cut. So we're going to cut, oh, there, and cut there. Oh, you know what? The only problem is all these things are going to have caps now, and I don't want that. So let me put these back together real quick. Grab the entirety of this item and go in here and say no caps. And that way when I start to cut these away, again, we don't run into any weird stuff where we're adding more shape than we're losing. Because that's not the point of what I'm trying to work on here. There you go. So you can see they kind of fall apart a little bit. Okay, we got that little bit there. Keep things moving. All right. So real quick, like I said, we're close to the end of our time today, but what I was thinking was what we could do is mess with the opacity of these a little bit. Maybe even kind of sink them to the background. And that way it looks like the grass is kind of growing over these pieces. And then on top of that, what we can do is see if they have any stones that are specific to the jungle set. Way too far. All right, we've got jungle rocks, big jungle rocks, stuff like that. It's not quite the look that I'm going for. And we've got these broken ancient wall caps. Excuse me. Broken slope wall caps. Can we, if we make it real tiny, make it work as a piece of stone that's all screwy? I submit that you can. However, that being said, I think you mess with the opacity there too, just to make it look a little bit more natural as it kind of fades into the grass. So we'll make some adjustments there as well. And then real quick, before we take a step out, let's go back into the jungle set, but in the brushes instead, and see a floor that we want to use there. So I want it to kind of look like something a little homey. Ancient temple floors. I don't really want it to look like a tomb, but there's not really a lot of options. Let's use the dark stone real quick and see what we can make of this. And the idea that we'll have is maybe something like 65%. And it helps to be on the foreground. And it helps to be sized appropriately. Excuse me. There we go. So the idea that we're going to have is pieces of these are going to be kind of falling away so that the adventurers can walk through as they need to. And as they go through, they can potentially set off a trap. One of the things that I'm noticing up here is these shouldn't just be straight up and down anymore. So we're going to make some adjustments here and there. And as we go around and do that, we'll do that a couple more times. So instead of having to go around this building, and we'll maybe make some obstacles and things, they can go through the building until they reach the other side. And then there will be like a little mini dungeon for people to go through. But the ultimate plan is, here there's a trap, here there's a door that leads a little bit further west. In the 15 or 20 minutes that we spent working on this map, I honestly am pretty pleased. We still have a lot of work to do, a tremendous amount of work, and I have to do some research on whether or not banana bushes grow taller than these jungle trees, but that is for future Michael to worry about. So let's hit save, and let's go to our show closing page. My voice is starting to go, so I'm going to wrap this up quick. So folks, on the screen right now, you should see a couple of the places that you can find Tellest content out there on the internet. The Tellest website, Tellest.com, is probably the place that you want to go first, but we also have some premium sites that you can go to. Rihanna says, do you want a chalky milk? I want a chalky milk. And I want a chalky milk because we didn't get a chalky milk yesterday. We had a berry milk yesterday. So the two... Let me rewind that. The two places that you want to go for digital content is patreon.com/Tellest, where you can find our maps after they go online, including you can also go to DriveThruRPG. We have 60 of our products on there right now. The other place that you can go is Tellest.Etsy.com for the physical versions of our maps. Right now we have like 27 of our maps up there, and as we near Fan Expo, we're going to add more of those maps up there because why not? The other places that you should go, youtube.com/@worldoftellest and twitch.tv/thattellestguy. That's where you're going to go to find these videos either after it's off Twitch or live on Twitch, where you can watch me do these things. And then like Rihanna, maybe at some point you can, not Rihanna, I'm not speaking directly to Rihanna, like Rihanna, you, another person, could say, here's the kind of variant I want to see. And then the last two places that I'll point you out to are our TikTok channels. TikTok.com/@WeirdWitchWands is where you can find Rihanna's handcrafted one-of-a-kind magic wands. They're really cool. We're going to sell out at Fan Expo, so get your wands now when you can. And the other one is TikTok.com/@TalesOfTellest, where you can see our three poochies acting real cute and nuts and everything like that. And with that, my voice is almost all the way gone, so I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow, and I miss you.